Hello, everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
Happy Tuesday. Welcome to our live stream. My name is Alex Sheba. I'm with Adam Lamar. Adam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Adam Lamar, staff engineer here at Uniform. Been working on the React Server Components SDK. I'm really excited to show it today.
Sweet. And it looks like we are live indeed. I just double checked.
Awesome. Not broadcasting into the void.
Yeah, this is you gotta notice this is one of the first ones for us. So apologies if it's gonna be a little bit
We're,
quirky,
we're
a
doing it
little
all
bit.
live here. Yep.
But it's a developer live stream. That's kind of what you expect. So we have a lot of good stuff for you. Hopefully everything will work magically, but a lot of things could go wrong. So that will be fun. That does we'll love living on the edge. So what are we talking about today? Well, Next.js 14 is out, as it was announced at Next.js Conf. And Next.js Commerce was updated with that version. So we thought, why not connect the launch of our new SDK for Next.js App Router that Adam's been working on very hard, and connect it with this event and show you the SDK in all its glory, and show how it connects with this new App Router React Server Components way of building Next.js apps, and how it connects with the notion of visual workspace and what can you do with that. So this is really exciting moment for us to launch a brand new SDK. So the best way to see it is to build something together with it. So that's the whole purpose of it. Um, is specifically what to expect from this live stream. You're gonna see how to make Next.js Commerce site visually editable. What does this mean? Well, you're gonna have a few things going at the end of this live stream. We're gonna focus on a whole page just to get started, focusing on one page at a time, and then maybe next live stream we'll tackle product detail pages, making them visually editable. But the investment we'll put in today will be reusable across. We'll be able to create new pages using live preview, inline editing, and you're gonna get the full layout and experience management. What does this mean? Well, uh, think about it as component level personalization you'll have available at a just click of a button, or you'll be able to create an A/B test on a component and connect your front end components without writing any code with any data sources. That's sort of one of the good side effects of this investment. And finally, we're gonna render all that personalization experience, commerce experience goodness at the edge. We're gonna use Edge runtime, and we're gonna experience great performance of this dynamic experience serving. As a part of this process, we're not gonna use any headless CMS, so we're just gonna use Uniform Visual Workspace for content. Sorry. So that's the plan. How do we go about doing that? Well, we're gonna do some assume different personalities. I will assume personality of marketing technologists, and for that, this is important to show how this multi-track workflow can work together and how Adam and I can collaborate. Adam will be a front-end engineer responsible for this one-time SDK activation. So we're gonna go pretty low level because it's a developer live stream. So we're gonna show what it takes to add Uniform SDK into an existing Next.js app. We can register existing components and engineer brand new components. I will be working less with code. I will assume the personality of somebody who's been a .NET developer before, but I forgot everything. But I know enough to be dangerous. I'm more focusing on marketing technology and making things happen on the experience layer, connecting data sources, creating my experience model, setting up personalization, and assembling these experiences out of the units, the components, the building blocks that Adam helped put together. So we'll be doing a lot of switching between these two processes, and we'll see how this goes. There'll be lots of screen sharing and resharing, but that's the whole purpose of let's imagine two people collaborating on getting some things done together. And hope it will be dynamic and exciting, and
Yeah.
that's the process.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite things too, because like we were doing the walkthrough yesterday, and like it's incredible how far you can get. Like after we set up these components, set up the project, how far you can get integrating these external systems with Uniform. So it's really nice how little work I have to do after doing this initial setup. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's very empowering. And keep the comments coming as well. We'd love to get them addressed in real time. And thanks, Elias, for nice commentary here. William, welcome.
Hey, William.
Roger. All right, let's get started. So, to get started, let's set some context. I'm going to share the screen real quick to kind of show you where we're getting going. Our starting point is the Next.js Commerce site. We have connected it as is connecting to our Shopify store. That we have some nice swag for supporting Ukraine. So you can see we have a couple of collections, and we're gonna pretty much take this as a starting point and start turning this into dynamic experience that can be edited and visually edited in terms of layout. We're going to add new component, which is a more marketing component. So we're going to spice things up a little bit, but also make every component here fully managed inside the Visual Workspace. This means that I can add new instances of the component. I can reorganize the page, and I'll be able to create more pages like this dynamically without touching a piece of code. Currently, the way it is, just showing a piece of code, this is the current setup, is that the placement of components is hard-coded. So we have the grid component, we have a couple carousels here wrapped in suspense. This means that if I need to make any changes here, it's a code change, it's a release, right? If I need to change something within the grid component, also I have hard-coded content and statically place 3 grid items here. That's what we want to change. We want to make this dynamic, and this is what I need Adam's help with. One-time activation of SDK, and then I'm off to races, and I can work without being dependent on Adam. We're also gonna play a hypothetical scenario where an engineer goes for vacation, and then what happens? That doesn't happen in the real world, right? So we'll have some fun. This whole app is already deployed to Vercel. It's wired up to our source control, so we're kind of ready to go. And I'll hand it over to Adam so we can start wiring up Uniform. And as of this phase one-time activation, we're not gonna see much change, and that's by design. So, but as we're gonna start peppering with more Uniform functionality, we're gonna get a lot more progressive value activation. So yeah, Adam, did I miss anything in terms of the setup? Anything you'd like to add?
No, that was perfect. Yeah, I'd love to take over this homepage here. So
All right, show us the magic.
okay. Yeah, so like Alex said, our goal here is to kind of just take over this entire homepage. But we're going to start at the top. And first, we need to do a little prep. So I kind of have a couple of things set up already, but I just wanted to kind of demonstrate how to kind of establish connection with Uniform. So your project will actually connect with an API key. So this is our demo project here that we'll be using. And if we go to the security tab, toggle the API keys. We can go in here and add a new API key. So, we'll call this live, and we have a couple different roles we could use. If you're a developer, viewer, editor, let's choose developer here, and we'll create an API key. This will give us this API key, and we can actually copy it as an EMV file and just paste it into our project. But we've already done this already a little bit, so I'm just going to skip that for now. Just kind of wanted to demonstrate that. On the code side, we've actually already done the package install. Figured we'd spare the stream installing a package. So we have just Canvas package installed, and we also went ahead and just defined a basic uniform server config. This lets you kind of adjust some internals. You can change some cache settings in here, and you can also configure default consent for when visitors access your site, which you can toggle later, depending
That's
on
for the
your
tracker, right? The default consent. If that's not set up, then the tracker will not be collecting any data.
Exactly. Yeah. So if it's true, then we will track out automatically. If it's false, we won't until the user's consented. And the typical flow for that is like cookie consent banner. You'd hook into your existing cookie consent banner and kind of toggle it from there, when they've consented. So you don't need to track right off the bat. So. And then we have a couple different, I think we have 4 different places we need to take a look at real quick in the project itself to get Uniform connected. We need to set up a function to resolve components, Canvas components. So Alex will kind of show the process of creating these components. And we need to be able to resolve the Canvas components you define in Uniform to React components. So this is a function that I already put in place. It's using this kind of beta scaffolding structure we have. So we'll kind of show how that works. And the first thing we need to do is actually open our layout itself. And we need to wrap this entire layout with a uniform context. And this uniform context isn't a client component. It's a server component that we use to kind of integrate the content, the tracker client side to do personalization and all that stuff. So add that in, just wrap our entire page in, and it should be perfect. Just go back to our site.
And it should not break existing site.
It should not break your existing site. Everything should just work. And our goal through all these steps is to make this site look the exact same. But Uniform will be here and ready for Alex to start adding in components. So our second thing is we need to go into our page. So like Alex showed, this is our basic page at this point, and we have the hard-coded components, but we want to kind of just start taking control of this. So we have to use our uniform composition component. Alex will show the process of creating compositions. But we want to start adding components from the top. So we're just gonna start adding in this component. So give them a place to add these components in. So we'll just pass the props. This passes params that get passed from the URL and search params as well. And at this point, we have a choice to make. You can either have your site server rendered or statically rendered. Server renders is really nice. If you have personalizations, they get evaluated on the server, and yeah, it's a really nice experience if you go this way. We're going to go this way because it's experience. And then we just
server in this. Sorry, Adam. Just to confirm, I understand. Server in this case, it's server-side rendering that also can run at the CDN node, I guess, as well. So the server in this case means that it's just anything but not client, I guess, which means any server-side environment, Lambda, function rendering, or CDN-based rendering also is a server.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it could be rendering on the edge network or running on Lambda. So that's kind of the mode there. So. And then we need to use that resolve component function that I showed before. This will allow us to make that connection between mapping components that we define in Uniform and React components. So save this, and we should end up with the same exact page, which is perfect. And we actually have 2 more things. They're kind of just higher level things for doing preview. So we're going to be demonstrating how you can do preview in Canvas, and we need a route to handle that. this is the kind of the structure of the preview handler. We kind of handle a couple different verbs for you. So get, post, and options for course headers. So the get verb is used by Visual Canvas. It resolves the component composition that's being previewed. And post is a verb that if you have a webhook, which we'll configure later, and just post events to, then we'll do cache invalidation on the CDN. And you can kind of surgically invalidate compositions and components that have been fetched by your application. So this is kind of the baseline, and we kind of handle the invalidation behind the scenes. You don't need to write this yourself. So, and the last thing we need to do is add a folder or page for Playground. I'm going to spell this correctly this time. And so we will define page.tsx in here, and Alex will be showing this a little bit later. But this basically allows you to actually preview individual components instead of a page, entire composition itself on a page. So this allows you to do some pretty neat stuff, and we'll kind of show that functionality later. So I think that's it for setup in the app. A little anticlimactic because we have the same exact page, but that's exactly what we want. So let's jump over back to Uniform, and now we're in our demo project, and we'll go to settings. So we need to actually set up a preview URL for Canvas so it knows how to actually display our site in development mode. Currently, we don't have a preview URL set up. So we're just going to map this to localhost 3000, and we'll do API preview. And one thing I didn't show is we have a secret set up, so people can't arbitrarily hit this endpoint. So we'll do next commerce.
Unless they're Robert Hawk. Robert Hawk can definitely hack it without the secret.
I know. I'm leaking all my API keys and secrets. So yeah. But yeah, that's the setup there. Pretty easy, one field. And if everything goes right, I should be able to come in here. It's doing the negotiation. It's using that preview handler, and automatically we have kind of visual canvas activated in here, and ready for Alex to start creating some components. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and check in on my code.
So while Adam is pushing this latest one-time activation of Uniform SDK, the purpose why we're showing you this as an incremental activation flow is that Uniform doesn't have to own the whole page. So you can essentially sprinkle the area of dynamic control and then gradually kind of outsource component rendering to this composition area. And it can coexist with statically placed header, footer, and those sort of components if you don't want them to be marketer controlled. And that gives you a lot more wiggle room on how to activate the product in kind of brownfield scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
So since we're sharing the same project, I expect if I reopen this page, it will just work. Because Adam set everything up for me, and I'm picking up where Adam left off. And so I cannot do anything here because my components are still hard-coded. So let's start changing that. Right? So we get into this exciting part here. In this point, I want to start with a simpler component. These components are a little bit they are composites. They consist of other components. I want to something like traditional marketing hero, but since Adam is off to have a great vacation in Hawaii, I'm kind of need to have some options here, and somebody who is techie but not really expert in React. I need some help here, and I can turn to AI to give me some components I can use. So this is, we're gonna show elements of AI here around every kind of step of the way here. But one thing we can do is get started with some of the AI-based component generation. So we will use v0.dev, to get me started. So if I want a marketing hero with a title, description, an image on the right, a red call to action link. Let's see what let's see what happens. I have a backup just in case of a component I know works, but let's see if AI can give us some good starting point. So here, still thinking, giving me a couple of options to choose from, but you can see start streaming React pretty much as we go, which is pretty sweet.
Nice.
And if I switch to code, I can even see code streaming as well. Nice. I have
Pretty
something
good.
that looks pleasant. What do you think, Adam?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I don't like how obnoxious this button is. Let's make this button 1/3 of the container. About that. Other than that, maybe. Oh,
Nice.
nice. I kind of keep picking on this button. Let's maybe make this in the Miami Vice style. We know what this means, right? Let's see if AI knows. Get it a little bit more exciting. V2.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Good
We'll
effort.
take that.
Yeah.
All right. So what do I do with this? Well, before Adam left on vacation, he told me that he built a scaffolding script. So I can reuse this code. This is built with Tailwind. So, and that's CSS I'm actually using inside of Next.js Commerce. So this is copy pastable inside of my code base. But before that, I need to model this component somewhere. So I kind of know I have title, description, button title, button link, and an image. So let me go and create new component inside Uniform. In this case, I can start with component library and register a new component. So we're gonna call it hero. I'm gonna pick an icon that looks like a hero, maybe this one. And then in my parameters, I'll start modeling it. So I do have a title. I need a description. It's gonna be multi-line text. I'll need an image. I'm gonna get an image from image URL. Here I have a couple of options for an image. I can upload an asset or just use external image if I want. And then I have a couple of text, button title, and for the button link, I'm gonna use the link type. And for the link type, I'm gonna constrain it to certain types of links. And I think that's good to go. This component, I can now even go ahead and place it on my page that Adam helped create. This case, I have this plus area with page and nothing inside of the content slot. I can go ahead and change that and actually place a hero component here and save it. Notice that the front end has no idea about what hero component is, and that's by design because the structural portion of the component registration is decoupled from the front end. So we can change that. I already have my markup available. So Adam told me that there is this scaffolding script, and I can actually go and run this scaffolding command. And what this command is going to do is going to ask me which component you want to scaffold in my code base. And I'm not an expert in React. I'm just going to go with CLI and just see what happens. So we just got a brand new component created here under Uniform Hero Index. And this component is rendering just the data that is defined without knowledge of the markup yet. But all of the component registration and props in TypeScript already pre-generated for me. So I don't have to think which props do I have. I can just run with it. And you can see because this preview is running against local, I already get my latest updated hero component, which renders something, right? So I can now put some content in here, description, and maybe I'll put an image. Let's go to Unsplash for an image and search for San Francisco coffee. What happens?
She'll send you a picture from my vacation.
You want to rub it in.
Yeah.
All right, get an image. Get some button data here. /future will be my link. So here I'm prototyping. This is not real data. I can choose to connect it to any content source. We'll do that later, but at least I have something here to play with. But now, when it comes to real markup, I actually want to reuse this that I've whatever I generated. So I can go and copy paste this instead of. Again, I'm a copy pasting engineer at this point. I know what XML is. I still remember XML, right? I just copy pasted this as is. See if it broke anything. Yes, it did, because the link is not defined. Because we're using next link, that's not a problem. And now we have component rendering inside of my layout. So it's rendering hard-coded data, which I don't like. So I'm gonna go and replace this real quick, because I have reference of my fields. So this is my description. It goes here. My button title goes here. Image image would go into source, if I remember HTML correctly. And this is my link. I'll put this instead of hard-coded link. All right, save it. Now everything is live. I can make changes. And they are being reflected here. That's how productive I can be while my main engineer is on vacation. I can actually go and ship stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you can argue that maybe some front end tweaks is needed, but that's a very different workflow than what I remember working with CMS before, right?
Probably could have done this from the beach, actually.
Yeah. So what is missing here? Well, I'd love this to be inline editable, and for that, I'll transfer this over to Adam. He's back. He had two days of vacation, so he's back and now ready to roll. So I'm gonna push this, and then this way Adam can pull it and do the whatever front end needs to be done. But at this point, experience model is done. I already have my V0. I love the name because that's exactly what it is. It's a V0 of the component, and it's integrated, and I can start even connecting to real content sources that I want to connect, while Adam is working in parallel to get the rest of the stuff going. So Adam, why don't you show us how to make this inline editable, because I kind of want to have a better experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, can you see my screen? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I pulled Alex's changes that he made while I was out, back from vacation here, and figure would just show the process of converting one of these to inline editable in Visual Canvas. So I'm going to go ahead to his code that he wrote, that he scaffolded out, and we'll go to this uniform folder, hero, and we'll take a look at this. And there's actually a component that we shipped to make this really easy. So we can do uniform text, and we'll come down. Let's just do the title. That seems like a pretty good one that people want to edit. So we use uniform text, and we need to pass it a couple things. So we need to pass it the component this data belongs to, some context, and we need to pass it the field, or parameter rather. Wow, it's going rogue on me here. And then we need to style it the way we want, but let's just make sure this is working first. So we have hello world, which is perfect, but it's not big. So let's just copy over this class name, and I'll save this. And now we have 2. So we can go ahead and get rid of our old one. Save this. And now we have a fully inline editable.
Nice. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah. So this just comes right out of the box for you and automatically reflected in Canvas itself as well. So we could do the same thing with the rest of these fields as well, but it gets a little repetitive. So Alex is I think happy enough with just being edit the title inline here.
Maybe
So
let's do button title. Yeah, I
button
want to type
title.
inside of the button. Can we do
Oh,
that?
okay, let's try it. So let's see, same exact way here. So will Copilot get it? Oh, pretty close, but we don't need this class name. So let's see if this works here.
So that's GitHub Copilot helping you out, huh?
Yeah,
Very cool.
perfect. So now
All
you can
right.
edit this. You can edit this button text as well.
Amazing. That's my dreams came true with button editing. Let's do it.
Yeah, awesome. So I will not save this because it's not valuable. But I'm going to commit this changes for you.
All righty. So as Adam is pushing this code, let's start tackling more of these components below. So we have 2 components here to model, and we'll do this together because they are very similar. So this kind of grid component consists of 3 components inside, 3 tiles, so to speak. And then from within, they display information from Commerce Catalog. And something similar is happening here, but we have a carousel, which is kind of auto-scrolling. So what do we want to do? Turn them into, register these components in Uniform. We're going to do some experience modeling for those as well. And this will allow us to take full control over these components from experience perspective. So how do we go about modeling this? So let me pull the latest, making sure I'm running the latest front end as well. I'm gonna start with this grid component. So inside of them, I'm gonna model it as component that can have other components inside. So we do this with slots in Uniform. So let's go ahead and model them. That individual components presented within the grid, let me call this, maybe let's do product variant. And inside of that, I'm going to use the power of reflection here, and essentially going to stub out my model here with the name that I want to display. There is a price. So the price, I'm going to use numeric parameter here. I'm going to also add an image here. I'm going to call this asset, so image. So this will be an image URL I can use for the actual image. I'm going to need a link for the actual URL. This will link to the product detail page in future. And here to control the experience portion of it, I want to control if the tile should be full height or not. So let's do that. Call this full, and that will be a checkbox Boolean. So that's my inner component. And then next one, I want to model the grid, which will be called 3-item grid. And inside of that, let me pick an icon here, something that looks like a grid. And then it will host this new component that I have just created. So I'm going to call this grid items slot. And this is my product variant will be used here. And also I'm going to enable loop, which will be helpful for us in future. And yeah, that's lost this. Get the product variant, and let me see, a loop, and I think that should be it. There we go. So that's my 3-item grid. I want to do something similar for carousel, that other component. And because structurally these components are the same, I'm just going to duplicate my product variant, and I'm going to call it carousel item. And it's going to get exactly the same parameters. Now there's a different way of doing it, but I'm just going to go with a quick and dirty because I'm kind of just doing some experience modeling here and some prototyping. And then finally, I want to build my carousel, which will also have a slot, call it items. And here I'm going to specify my carousel item and also a loop, which will be handy in future. Give it another icon. And then in parameter, I want to be able to have a name property that will describe the name of my product collection. So that will be controlled as a parameter on the actual component. And that's it. So that's the structures I've built. Now I can go and place them inside of my page here. So below this hero, I can place my grid, 3-item grid. And then in the structure here, you can see that I have grid item slot, and I can add more product variants here. I'm not able to add anything else except for product variant because I have constrained this this process. So let's see, I'm mocking this. So this is totally working on mock data, but we'll be connecting this to the real content source here in a second. So this will be my first product. I can duplicate this real quick, get my second product for $10. I have another image I can use. And then my third product, different price here. And this data will be enough for Adam to build the experience and refactor the components that are already built out to display all of this data. So that's item grid. I can also place my carousel here. And then inside of carousel, test collection, this will be my name. And then I have a couple of carousel items here as well. And I'm gonna just place this real quick and just duplicate them because I don't really worry about the data. I'll be connecting this to real content source in a few minutes. So that's the data I need. This is enough for Adam to then to take over and register these components and can bring Uniform SDK into them.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I love that that can happen even before kind of development starts. So these components start to be modeled out before I get involved. So yeah, that's really cool. Cool. So yeah, that's my job now to go ahead and implement these components. Need to refresh this page. Get rid of our old changes here. So we have our 3-item grid and our carousel here. That's my task at hand. Wait for these to refresh. So I'm going to go ahead and use that scaffolding command Alex used before because it's very helpful. And first, we're going to start with this 3-item grid, and I'll select it. I'll say yes. And if we go back to our page, we can already see that 3-item grid is already displaying something because there's some markup in there already to kind of show that the component's working. And if we go over to it, this markup is here. So let me go ahead and implement this. And first, I'm just going to take a look at what the current implementation is and try to borrow as much as I can from here, since the goal is to make this editable by the same component editable in Uniform. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and just kind of refactor it a little bit. So I'll paste this in here. And one thing Alex showed to do was to use a slot, and we provide this component for you. So there's a couple different ways you can use it, but we just need to just render out the slot, and this should just display our product variants that have been configured in this field. So we can get rid of these. These are just some hard-coded fields in here. These are going to be powered by Uniform. So let's see how close Copilot gets us here. Yeah, it's okay. So we'll just pass, instead of slot name, we're just going to pass slots dot grid item, and pretty close data. And this should, if we go back to a uniform, go back to our site, this looks pretty good. We haven't scaffolded out or built out the product variant yet, so it's not displaying anything. But at least we have 3 items, and the 3 items that Alex built out in the actual slot itself. So let's just repeat that process for the product variant, and I will hit yes, and we'll get a default scaffolded product variant here, which is enough for us to get started with. And so we'll go to our product variant, and we're just going to kind of repeat the same exact process. We're going to go back to our 3 items. This was displaying 3-item grid item, which is just this. So like I said, we're just going to kind of copy this and just kind of rework it a little bit to get it to work with Uniform. So we'll delete all this markup, and we'll kind of just rework this component to use those fields as we encounter them. So plenty of errors here, which is great. So let's just start importing things and just kind of see where that gets us. So we'll import the existing components, and the first thing we should tackle is this size. It's used a couple different places, and this is going to be powered by that checkbox that Alex set up for this Boolean value. So let's just kind of see if it. Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty good. See, development's just hitting tab now. It's really nice. So we'll set up the URL here. I think Alex set this up for, it's a link param, I think. So we'll just set this up, and we'll have a little fallback here in case it doesn't exist. This will be helpful for pattern preview later. Then this is the image. So I think we just called this image. Image is actually an array. And let's see. Oh, it's just a text, right?
Image I made image URL, so it should be string. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Priority, nothing. We don't need anything as priority at this point.
We could have controlled it with a checkbox as well if we wanted to.
Yep. And we just need to finish in these, so we'll set the alt to that. We'll set the title to the name that Alex set up. The amount, I think it's price.
Mm-hmm.
And currency code, we're just dealing with US dollars here right now. So you could have pulled this from somewhere else or mapped this somewhere other way. But that is our component. We can delete some unused props here. That looks good. If we go back, we should have our products here, which looks good. The component's kind of displaying a little strange because I think one of these is supposed to be checked. So we check it off, and we now have our 3-item grid here, just displaying all our products. And now this is fully controlled by Uniform just by remapping a couple different fields. So that's really cool. I mean, our existing one's still down here as well. So yeah, that's the 3-item grid. I'm just going to save this, and I just want to do the same thing with the carousel, but I'm just going to kind of, instead of repeating the same thing, I'm just going to kind of scaffold them out really quickly. So we'll start with the carousel. We'll overwrite that, and we'll go to our carousel, and a little movie magic here, and we should have our scaffolded out carousel, which we do, but our carousel items aren't displaying. We pulled in our name field, which is on the actual carousel itself. So that's perfect. And now we just need to scaffold out the actual items themselves, which we can do. And this should be displaying already, which it is. And we will just see how this goes. And image is just a URL field, so it's just a string. So we can just adjust that real quick. Fresh. And now we have our carousel items powered,
Nice. And it's
powered by
moving
Uniform.
in
Yeah,
preview.
I know. We can fix that though. That's an easy fix. So we actually pass this context here. And what this does is, so this wrong field, wrong component. On the actual carousel itself, we can import this context, and this actually tells you. Oh, we've already done that. This actually tells you the mode the page is currently in. So we can look at the context itself, and we can go, is this are we context editing here? And if we are, then we could remove this class because we don't need the carousel animating while people are trying to edit it. It's not super convenient. So let's just really quickly remap this and conditionally render that field out or render that class. So we can say, is in context editing, then we'll say nothing. Otherwise, we'll render this class out. So that
That's it.
looks good. That's it. And
All
now we
right.
have carousels that aren't moving. So we've enhanced our carousel because our existing ones are still down here carouseling away. So we've definitely enhanced the carousel editing experience here. So just by conditionally rendering that class. So but yeah,
So good.
I think that's it for mapping these components. So I'm going to go ahead and check these in so you can keep working with them.
That's awesome. So as Adam is pushing the code, what we're gonna do in this point is switch gears to use the deployed version of our site, which we'll also need to publish, making sure I get all the latest versions. So instead of running a preview locally, we can just point this to that for sale site. And at this point, we're not planning on making any code changes anymore, but the project is not over yet. So as this is building, hopefully, typically it takes 30, 40 seconds, super fast, because it's not running static build, it's running just code build, and that's why it's 38 seconds.
Wow,
That's awesome.
nice. That's good.
So if we did everything correctly, now we should be able to render all of the latest changes that Adam's done with inline editing, and then all of my components become dynamic. I can reorganize my components. I can move this product up, for example. Kind of want this to be featured first. So I have full layout control, as you can see. Right? I can make this one not full height. This one will be full height. There we go. Kind of
Okay.
like this one better. Now I have access to my collections. My demo collection, this can also be inline editable if I ask Adam nicely. And you can make a choice. You can make these attributes as well inline editable too, but they will be mapped to some commerce catalog. So maybe I don't want to do that as well. In this point, we can start removing all these hard-coded components if we wanted to. So everything related to, I know I said I'm not going to open up the code anymore, but I can now essentially get rid of all the hard-coded business here and essentially just turn this page dynamic.
Took over the whole page.
Page. Does this look right?
Yep.
All right. Of course, I didn't pull. Oh my God.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Let's see. There we go. And now we will get a new version of the page without the hard-coded components, and hopefully in 30 seconds, these will be gone. All right, so next step, what can we do without touching any piece of code and start wiring up these components to my commerce backend? So what I'm gonna do here, I already have, we have a mock commerce integration, and this is exactly, it's doing what the name suggests. It allows you to connect to a mock product catalog, and this helps us demonstrate that this process is pretty much uniform across any other commerce integration we support. So imagine a commerce system that has product catalog API. The process will be identical to what I'm about to show you. So this integration is installed. This means that I can now register data types, and data types allow me to model how I'm gonna pick my content. So if I wanna have single product selection, I can create new data type here and constrain it. Let's say I wanna select coffee makers, espresso machines, and maybe coffee beans. And this will be a single product selector. So this works for like featured product component, and this is how the product selection experience would look like, right? And our edge-based infrastructure will do all the data fetching for you, cache it, and allow you to retrieve this data and map it to any component visually. For those collections, carousels that we built, I have option of multiple product selection or a query. I like query for this use case because it gives me ability to build these kind of dynamic lists, and the content kind of configuration experience will be different here. So I'll be able to say, all right, give me coffee makers sorted by price, top 5 most expensive coffee makers, right? You can imagine like this could be search engine powered, so you can go a lot more advanced and deep, but this works for me for my basic use case. Once I have these data types, now I have a choice to make. Do I wire up content directly on my page? I can do that. I can go to my product here and start remapping it. So instead of this mocked name, I can insert dynamic token and map it to a product. So find the espresso machine. Was it Cosmic Espresso Maker? And then essentially connect it to a real data coming from that external content source. So in this case, I just went ahead and remapped it visual without touching any piece of code. I can do same thing with price.
Oh.
I can do same thing with an image. You can see I start essentially swapping out all this mock data I have with the real data. To adjust this value, and you can see I can mix and match here as well, and add more content, more data tokens, etc. But doing this across every product tile is not ideal, right? I kind of want to do it once and then save it as a fixed configuration for my whole component. That's what we have patterns for. So patterns is a very powerful concept in Uniform. It allows us to essentially create that configuration once and have business user repurpose that with just a few clicks. So we want to automatically generate the whole product item grid based on a query. Let's say I can go ahead and create a pattern, and this pattern will be called product grid. Let's see, there we go. And this is an empty product grid. So we can need to generate the tiles based on data, right? For that, I have loop, and loop allows me to connect to any array coming from my connection. So here, let's say I want to connect to coffee makers and pull the array of 5 coffee makers. I can connect it, and now for the individual item in that loop, I can add my product variant. You can see I have 5 different cards created, and I can do my connections here. Again, do it once. Connect to a price, and you can see every element in that loop is now getting data because I'm binding it live. There we go.
Nice. That's
Right.
really cool.
That's it. That's after the pattern is built and published, I can now go ahead and place it on my composition. And now the experience is very different. Now, instead of me going and remapping this every time, I can just go and place my brand new, how do I call it, product grid. It's already pre-configured, ready to go. All it asks me is to provide the query. So if I want to do, all right, coffee makers, 3 coffee makers sorted by price in descending order. This is my data context for this grid, and everything else just magically works. So this is the type of stuff I can do without opening up code editor, working with GraphQL, trying to figure out how do I get the data, how do I map it to my front end. Uniform Mesh completely took care of all of this business. So that's how easy it is to connect to data once you get this component registered. I know we have but a few minutes left to wrap up. Wanted to show you something that also is free, quote unquote. Now that we have all the components in Canvas, is personalization A/B testing. Right? So what if I wanted to personalize this component for a given audience? And our audience, I have the only signal here called live stream, and I have query string-based activation of the signal. For this one, I can put some title here. For the image, for the description, let me ask AI to generate some content. Create compelling copy for espresso lovers from San Francisco. There we go. See if ChatGPT can give us some content copy, because I kind of feel lazy. And this is these are all mesh integrations available inside of Uniform. All these prompts you can configure and create yourself, bring your own AI services. So using Uniform Mesh as extensibility for all of the AI generated content. Takes a bit longer than usual for some reason. But that's Dennis. Before everything worked.
You might have to write the copy yourself here.
Possibly. Something happened.
That's not great.
All right, not gonna happen today.
No.
All right, let's see if image generation is gonna work here. So for the image, well, here this is an asset, right? So this is a different okay, this is not gonna work. All right, for the image, let's do another image here. So you see personalization in action, but let's use this one. I'm not sure what this is. Toasters, whatever
Sure.
this is.
Yeah.
I need an image just for you. And at this point, save and publish, and we'll get personalization live. One thing we need to change in making sure the Vercel data cache is cleared. So for that, we need to set up a webhook to make sure we populate that. Remember that preview handler that Adam added? So there is an endpoint to also listen on posts. And what we're going to do is essentially configure it once, and it's going to point to the same preview endpoint. I think Next Commerce is our secret. I'm going to point it to all the events coming from Uniform.
Yep.
And it's going to figure it out what to do. So every time we actually go and publish, it's going to invalidate cache on Vercel. And let's see if we can test this. I'm going to go ahead and publish. We're going to go and refresh our site in incognito. Let's see. and doesn't actually want to render anything. Let's see.
Notice the hero. Oh, there it is.
There we go. So that signal is activating on UTM campaign, UTM channel, I think, equals live stream. And it's personalized now.
Nice.
So that's exactly what we need. The last piece of the puzzle here is to turn that edge runtime. This will give us ability to render this page not at the Lambda function level serverlessly, but with the power of CDN and render it edge side. Adam, can you remind me how we do that?
Yeah, if we just open up that page.tsx, and yeah,
Is this it?
that's it. That's it. Demo magic here. Just uncomment that, and it's pure performance mode.
All right. That instructs the hosting environment, I guess, to treat pages generated with this instruction differently, right? So
Exactly.
that's kind of part of Vercel magic here.
Yep.
So as we do in the build here, it's cool that you'll see this in the build log as these different pages are generated, different characters describing, is this edge rendered? Is this Lambda rendered? Is this static?
Yep. The performance is it's noticeable when you switch it to edge mode. It's really cool.
Essentially, you get to that static-esque performance levels. All right, so you can see here, this indicates that the home page is running edge mode, which we just enabled, but not found. Preview running Lambda serverlessly. Validate is running in the edge. Playground is what we're using for pattern preview, running Lambda, and then the rest is static. So that's kind of how easy it is to do it, and what it ends up having in much faster performance. You can see 100 millisecond time to first byte for fully dynamic page, right? In this case, there is no static build that's happening, full personalization, no layout shift, no side effects on core web vitals, and yeah, that's just now essentially available at your fingertips. It's just a click of a button away. Every component here is personalized. You want to personalize these collections, and based on user interest, of course the sort of example here is based on query string, but this could be CDP data, this could be any sort of behavioral signal, and yeah, check it out. So this is the live link. I'm gonna post this, making sure you guys can experience how fast it is. And yeah, that is the show we had for you. We ran a few minutes late, but there was a lot to pack here.
That's a lot. Yeah. I mean, I haven't touched code in quite a bit, and you integrated a whole external commerce platform and everything. It was great.
So that's showcasing this this whole multi-track execution flow, right? Because at some point I will get less dependent on developer. That's the whole point, is that once the initial activation is done, I'm off the races. I can create new pages now out of all the components we have built, and Adam can focus on building engineering brand new components that don't exist, maybe enabling animations.
Yeah.
As long as they don't compromise the editing experience.
Exactly. Do all those phase 2 things you don't usually get to, actually focus on impactful things. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, folks, this is everything that we showed is available now. We're gonna make this repo public as well, so you can see how it works. And if you wanna learn more, you can request a demo, and we can give a personalized demo based on your use case and your situation here. And this SDK is live. Here you can essentially repeat the steps that we have done today. We're gonna be pushing out a lot more samples, docs, etc. later today. So look out for that. And I'd like to thank you all for joining. And Adam, thank you so much for your hard work making this SDK shape it to the shape that it is.
Yeah.
And
No,
well,
it's
that's
been
lots
amazing.
of sweat and tears.
Yeah. No, this is really good, and I think people will enjoy working with the SDK. So I'm really excited people get started using it. So
Awesome. And we'll love feedback. If you have any feedback, you know where to find us.
yeah, definitely.
Alrighty. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Yeah, have a good day.